Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. I really do appreciate it. My name is Cheyne Walls. I make a living as a fine art, nature, and adventure photographer. Phase One has just released its brand new camera, and as of filming this video, there are only a handful of them out there in the world right now being tested by professional photographers. And I will be putting this brand new $60,000 camera to the test as I travel through Zion, the Grand Canyon, and Yosemite. So I just arrived here in Yosemite. Weather report was not lying. It's hard to photograph in this type of weather, but I love this weather. The smell, the fall color. We're in Yosemite, it's raining. It's epic. We got, what do we got? Get you dizzy here. About 20-30 minutes till sunset. And I'm hoping here, let's see, I got the camera out with the umbrella. And let's hope that clears a little bit to capture a shot. Okay, we're gonna switch now to voiceovers as my lavaliers got a bit waterlogged as we stood out in the rain for hours waiting for this fog and rain to clear. Now don't be fooled by the umbrella over the $60,000 Phase One XC40 camera. This camera is very well insulated and protected from rainy conditions like this, and is completely capable of being used in these conditions without the umbrella or a plastic rain bag over the camera. This is my personal preference in the way I shoot, and I'd be doing the same thing if I had a Nikon or Canon sitting on the top of that tripod. It's my way of keeping water droplets off the lens and making it easier to interact with the camera. That being said, I have noticed since you are doing everything on the touch screen, if that touch screen does get a little wet, it makes it a bit more difficult to navigate through the screens and menus. The outside buttons become a huge help in this situation, and you can customize them to help you navigate via shortcuts to the most used menus and applications. A short reprieve from the rain, I was able to capture Rainy Day in the Valley, a shot I was excited about. With the rain getting worse and forecast to be its heaviest in about an hour or so, I was satisfied for the day and thought to start making my way to the hotel. After 12 straight days of camping, I was ready for a real bed. It wasn't until we were driving by El Capitan that I realized the skies were clearing and I could see the top of this incredible landmark. Lucky, this being my 50th or so trip to Yosemite National Park, I knew right where to go to capture this. This again is where the compact nature of the Phase One was instrumental in capturing this next photograph. The parting clouds allowed for a warm hue from the setting sun to cast this beautiful glow over the valley and just kissing the face of El Capitan. After a full sprint from my vehicle to my shooting location, in moments I had the camera locked in the tripod and was shooting. Shooting at f11 with a 4-second exposure at ISO 100, I was blown away by the final image quality. The 15 stops of dynamic range made it possible so I didn't need to add filters over the lens, nor did I need to bracket. No noise in the shadows, detail on the highlights, and not to mention massive file size with unmatched clarity, all in one capture. To get the perspective I wanted, I did do a little swing with the tripod head, capturing 2 images, then stitching together for the final image. One of my favorite shots of this whole expedition, I can honestly say without the quick, compact, all-in-one idea of this Phase One XC40 platform, I wouldn't have gotten such a dynamic image with industry-leading quality. I can't wait to print this photograph out in a massive triptych piece. Good morning. It's the next day. I am so glad I got a hotel room. It poured all last night. It's kind of fun using all my camping gear here in the hotel to make coffee. I'm just having a comfortable morning. This is nice. I caught up on some sleep. I got all those batteries that went flat in the cold, recharging those. Now the plan is we're gonna head this hotel, and the great thing about traveling this time of year, you're tempting fate, but you can do these walk-ins where you can get rooms like this with this beautiful view for a third or a fourth of the cost of what it usually would during high season, and there's openings. Hotels will usually give you, if they have empty rooms, they'll give you to dirt cheap prices. So that's kind of nice. We lucked out with this. This is incredible. What a view. So anyway, today, the only small problem with this hotel is we're about a half hour, 20 minutes, half hour from where I want to photograph. So I think we're gonna stay one more night here just to again catch up on the sleep. It's gonna be raining all day today. We'll go out and see what we can get. I think we're gonna move up to, if you know the Curry tents up at Curry Village, they're about $60 to $70. So we'll keep the price point down and we'll be right in the middle of the park so I can just wake up and walk to do my sunrises. But for now, I'm gonna enjoy this and just take in all this atmosphere. It's absolutely beautiful. Yosemite in the rain, no crowd, well, few crowds compared to what Yosemite usually is. It's incredible. Cheers. As I drove into the Yosemite Valley, I expected a bit of a dip in temperature due to the elevation climb, but I was amazed at how the temperature plummeted and the rain quickly turned to snow. A bit unprepared as the snow was only forecasted for over 6,000 feet and the Yosemite Valley sits at just under 4,000. After weighing our options, we decided to return to where we were shooting the previous day. I've been trying for years now to get an interesting take on Half Dome reflected in the Merced River and felt this might be the perfect opportunity with these weather conditions to capture something different and interesting from this iconic viewpoint. Once again, it was a waiting game as we waited for a clear shot of Half Dome as the fog and rain and mist and clouds cleared, exposing the camera to some rougher elements, some rougher conditions. The Phase One XC40 handled it just fine. With nothing really to photograph, staying off the touchscreen kept the batteries pretty strong at almost a full charge from the previous night charging. The temperatures did not affect this camera whatsoever, the batteries as well. Not so much I could say for my cell phone, which died about an hour or so after waiting, just sitting in my pocket. So the batteries, unless you're really on the touchscreen, like I've said in previous videos, they're very hardy in cold weather. They handle that very well. It's just when you're on the touchscreen nonstop, doing a lot of frame averaging, really using this computer, the battery's drained. But for this instance, we were out for a couple hours sitting in the cold weather. We probably took 10 or 15 shots. The battery didn't move from green and it looked pretty much 100% full, just like when we started with it that morning. What an amazing scene that unfolded in front of me. I was so excited to capture this shot. The Phase One camera, once again, did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. The frame averaging really helped with this shot to show motion on the parts of the river where it wasn't icing over or freezing just yet. You can see here how parts of the Merced were frozen, so you had movement in some parts and a beautiful reflection in the others, making this image so special. Somehow in the way that Phase One is using some kind of black magic, that with long exposures, which I was going for with an actual long exposure, about 10 seconds, I would get motion in my shot because we were on a bridge. Every time a car drove over, it moved a little bit. I didn't get that with frame averaging, so I'm not sure how that works, how they're doing it, but it made it for such, it added so much to the shot. And also too, the incredible dynamic range. I just used a polarizer, which I don't even think it was really set if I remember correctly. I just always have a polarizer on my camera. I didn't really need it. I could take that dynamic range without blowing out the highlights in the sky and still getting detail in the dark parts of the foreground.